Hello, listener. We have another surprise episode for you. We hope that you are enjoying the end of summer. Is enjoying the right word? I would say
Embracing the end of summer.
embracing
Seasons
the end
come
of
and
summer.
go.
Getting ready for back to school. I do remember getting my outfit for school was like a huge deal. So, listener, we hope that you're enjoying everything that September has to offer. What we have to offer today is another listener episode with a Q&A. We're going to answer some questions from you guys, and we're also going to have another reading with another listener.
All right, so our first question that we received was about episode 10, our numerology episode. And the question was, how can we calculate the other numerology numbers you mentioned? Christine, you went over a few other numbers that you just calculated for the two of us. You had soul, personality, power name, birthday, that one's self-explanatory, and attitude. So birthday is the day that you were born. So I'm born on the 26th, so then it's 2 plus 6 is 8. So that one is pretty easy.
Okay, so the soul number is based on your name. We referenced the Pythagorean number system in that episode. And what you do is you write out the alphabet. So you're going to want to write out a table with the headers 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And then you're going to fill in the alphabet. The first 9 letters of the alphabet will be row 1, the second 9 row 2, and then the last 8 row 3. So then you should see the first column under number 1, you'll see the letters A, J, and S. And so, I'm sorry, I just came back from Italy and language is not my strong suit right now. What is that thing that gives you instructions on a map?
A key.
It's going to be your key. Yeah. Oh my Jesus. It's going to be your key for breaking down letters into a number vibration. Your soul number is based on all the vowels in your name. So whatever your full name is, I would go by Christine Martello, and then I would take each vowel from those names, add them up, and reduce them down to a single digit, and that's your soul number. Does that make sense, Renee?
Yeah. So for me, I have E's, I's, and O's.
Yeah.
So I would only be looking at those letters, see what column they're in, add those numbers together, and then reduce to a single digit.
Correct. And now the personality number is similar, but it's all the consonants of your name.
Okay. So you're going to use the same exact key table.
Mm-hmm.
And for the vowels, you do soul, and consonants, you do personality.
Okay, and then for the power name, you're going to add up your soul number and your personality number. Basically, you're reducing your entire full name down to one digit.
So you can kind of calculate all three of those in tandem with each other. And then the birthday one, easy. Life path, we already went over in episode 10. So then what's the attitude formula?
So the attitude is just the month and the day you were born. So it's like your life path, but remove the year.
Interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so really the first three work together, and then the second three work together, because birthday is just the day, life path is everything, and then attitude is
Just
day,
the month and
months.
the day. Mm-hmm.
So they do kind of build on each other.
They build.
Interesting. So essentially, the power name and the life path are equivalent in that the power name is like if you use your full name, and the life path is you use your full birth date. And
Correct.
the other two for each are just components.
Right. I love how
Cool.
your brain works. That makes perfect sense.
Our second question is from episode 11 on divination tools. What's a divination tool you haven't tried but are interested to learn, and why?
Ooh, I would love to be able to read. I guess this involves anything with beverages, but I would love to be able to read like tea leaves or when you flip over an espresso cup. Or I even just saw on the Real Housewives of New Jersey, they had a lipstick reader. So you would press your lips against a piece of paper and she would read your lipstick mark. I didn't even know this was a thing. So I guess I'm not only obsessed with food, I want to read people's food and mouth.
I feel like the lipstick thing is very reminiscent of palm reading. because you'd be
Oh,
looking at the
yeah.
lines. That's what I would assume is you're looking at marks from your lips.
I would assume so too. They didn't really go into it on The Real Housewives. I guess like that audience wants to know other things.
Mm.
But if anyone's listening and knows anything about lip reading, please write into the show because I have 1004 questions. No less.
So I would say my answer, it's something that's been on my to-do list, which is water divination. My basic understanding of it is you're looking at water. It's creating some sort of a blank slate. Like I'm going back, there's like a Disney movie. Someone's looking in the water and then they like see something come
Pretty sure
back
it's
at them.
Pocahontas.
So that kind of a thing. And so in essence, it's instead of closing your eyes, it's almost like you're giving yourself a different kind of a canvas to see images on. I'm seeing that it's also called hydromancy, method of divination that uses water to interpret the future. Involves looking at the color, movement, and ripples of the water. So like you could drop rocks in it. It can also include reading reflections in a shallow surface or interpreting movements of floating objects.
Wait, I have a great idea. What if we do an episode next season where we experiment? I'll do tea leaf reading.
Christine,
Yes.
wait. This is what we do. We get a gigantic cup of tea, and I try to do the divination, and then I drink the tea, and then
Yes.
you do the tea leaves.
Yes. This is say less.
Two for one.
I'm in. Wow.
Thank you so much for sending in your questions. This is the last listener episode of season 1, but we're going to be doing a season 2. So you have that to look forward to. If you would like to have your question addressed by Christine and I next season, feel free to submit at any time. They can be on any of the episodes that have already aired or the ones that have yet to drop. And you can also submit questions to us that you want us to read into. So, something personal going on in your life, and it can be absolutely anonymous. We won't say your name, we'll just channel an answer for you to your question. Additionally, if you'd like to be read on our podcast, so we have this final live reading coming up right after this to be read on season 2, feel free to email us at synergytosynastry@gmail.com. The initial image that I saw was it looked like a mix of like a conveyor belt or those walking sidewalks. So it's like moving kind of quickly, but also I was almost seeing like you had a bunch of papers and you're like fanning them out or like sifting and going through them. It's not like a big stack, so it felt flat and just things were sliding and moving kind of quickly to the right.
Hmm.
So from here, we can look into what's the significance of these initial images, or we can table them or never come back to them at all and just go right into any topics or questions that you have.
And the significance that I maybe pull from those images, you mean?
So we can look into it. So I can say, I can kind of go inward and ask, what does this conveyor belt thing mean?
Yeah.
And same thing with Christine. So we can do that now, or we can do it later, or we cannot do it at all.
No, I would love, I'm like intrigued. So I would love to hear kind of more.
I'm just going to grab my pendulum, but yes.
Yeah, it's now turning into I don't really know what this is. I think it's you use it in art studios or kids can use it. Or it's like those like gold mine places. So it's like a sifter.
Hmm.
So you have sand or mud and then yeah, like they would use it in gold mines. So then they're sifting and then what's left are the chunks of gold or the gems or whatever it is. Before it was more linear and just a left to right, and it's an action of somebody taking something and moving and going through something. And then it was more really more forward and back than side to side for the sifter. So again, I'm going to keep looking into the significance, but I'm getting a pattern at least with the imagery.
Okay. So the feeling I get of you embroidering, I feel like we're in like an English countryside. But I feel like I keep being pulled back to this light blue energy. And I guess basically I'm hesitating right now to say what I'm about to say. Um, do you want to know what you're having?
Yes. Well, I actually do know
You
already.
know, okay. So I don't know why this is coming up then, because with the blue, it's telling me boy energy. But then I'm getting this weird twin energy, and I'm not sure where that's coming from.
Hmm.
I feel like I just got spoiled.
I'm so sorry
Yeah,
about that.
Renee, I am pregnant, and
But there's something about you like nesting here where, and I feel like you're really enjoying it. Like there's something very soothing, and that's why I'm seeing like the embroidery. Like I see you like sitting in the chair to like the baby's room, but I don't even know what it's called. A piece of cloth, a wheel, whatever it's called. As you're doing the embroidering, it's all coming to you so organically. I feel like you are almost yourself channeling everything that like this baby needs or like what the room should look like. It's so much less about you and so much what you feel the baby is going to need and want once it gets here. Does that make sense?
yeah,
Okay.
it's really sweet.
I was looking into the imagery that I was getting about the gold and the gems in that sifter, and what I got was that it was actually talking about jewelry and ancestral gems, antiques, so like family heirlooms. And that was then making sense and kind of clicking in my head because that sifting at the beginning of like going through different papers, and it wasn't so much that it was sorting and organizing, it was searching
Hmm.
for items. So the visual was like opening up a chest or something similar to that in an attic, like some relative's house, and there's things that you could find. I'm trying to separate the fact that I was just told that you were having a kid and not have that be like, well, then you're looking for things for your kid. It seems like there's one main item that you're being nudged to find or that somebody wants you to have, but
Hmm.
that there could be supplementary little bonus items that you could get. There's a sense that there's something that's bigger size-wise that you could use and like put in your home somewhere. It's more of the message about, well, you're continuing your family line. So then making sure that you have pieces from the past that are around and are connecting them as a thread almost. I'm trying to figure out what the object is, if it's like something like a frame or something that you hang, or because it feels like there could be a component of it that's wooden. Like, I don't mean like a sled or like a pallet or something, but there's something about it that feels like it's kind of rigid, or that you could maybe lean against something, you could maybe hang, or you could maybe put, it feels too big for like a mantle, like it would feel like out of place, but that you could just kind of prop up somewhere, and it just adds like this other element of character and the intention of calling in loved ones and your family line into your house or apartment or wherever you're living. At least just having that before the baby is born, creating an intention of calling in the energy of the larger community and people that know you and love you. Someone who was like family, but they weren't actually family. But whatever this big object is something from a family member from at least a generation back. Other little items, they could just be representing more of the community of people that love you and like the family that you're forming, expanding.
Hmm.
And I read back into this twins thing, and I don't know if you're planning on having a second baby after this. You're probably going to have the first one before you decide. But what I'm seeing is your second pregnancy is likely going to be twins, or you're going to have three kids. And if there's any worry set aside that like you're not going to be able to grow the family to the size that you want, to alleviate that, that's why spirit is showing me all of this.
I love that. I mean, we've always talked about having 3 kids, so
Okay, perfect. So it's going to happen.
yeah.
And I feel like it's going to be twin girls. And I think that's why there's the dichotomy of the light blue but the pink rosettes. But again, We'll see what happens when it happens.
Yeah, love that. And I'm really intrigued by this heirloom or like piece of my family history that needs to be integrated into the nursery. I have to figure out what that
Mhm.
is. And I mean, it does make sense. Like we've lost 3 grandparents in the last like 5 months. So
Oh, okay.
there's a lot of that probably to be like figured out still. So very interesting.
All right. Any follow-up questions, or do you want to jump into main questions or topics that you were thinking about for today?
Um, I don't even know because I've not really done one of these before. So I'd love to just see like if there's other things that come up from you guys too that maybe would help me like help spark something in me that might have some more questions as follow up to that.
Your career just like came up for me in like big bold letters. Not so much that there's a burning question, but I feel like it's on your mind like, okay, like what comes next with my career? Like I feel like you've kind of done it all in a way, or you feel that you've kind of done it all in the way, and it's like, all right, we're at a plateau, like what happens now? And if that feels resonant, I'll just keep looking into it. Okay.
Yes, please.
What I did was I just started throwing a bunch of topics out to see like yes, no, yes, no. And the one I landed on was not career, it was wellness.
Hmm.
And I was getting, as Christine was mentioning career, how they slot into each other because there's a lot of decisions that you can make going forward when it comes to your career when you're introducing kids into the mix. And what can be lost along the way is your own personal wellness. So, any routines that you had before, you're trying to establish new ones now. Those are going to keep changing as there's kid and kids. I got the sense that it was in a different lens, still connected to whatever Christine is going to get.
Okay.
And you're correct because reading into the career, it's what I'm hearing is that it's a gift now, the plateau that you're at, because your life is about to pivot. You're everything's going to change, and you know everything's going to change, you just don't know how. And the gift of this plateau is that you don't need to worry about your career so much. You're in a good place where it's settled and it's boring for good reason, so that when all the excitement comes of being a new parent and the baby's room and oh my god, I haven't slept for 24 hours straight and did I wash my hair today, when all of that comes up, you'll have the freedom to be like, I need to work from home today, or I'm coming in 4 hours late. And there's not going to be that panic that comes with starting something new in a career that, oh, I'm not showing up, or, all the worries that we have. And I also see like your routines and rituals are going to change so many times over the next year. I mean, even trimester by trimester, things are going to change for you.
Yep.
Then you're going to have the baby. Then you're going to adjust to the baby growing so quickly that it doesn't feel like a great time to add something new into the mix. Nothing is constant, but you're not going to be able to make those decisions until you get past like this first year of being a parent and
Mhm.
seeing what all of those challenges are before you realize what you actually need and want in your career.
No, that's really helpful. I think I have that is something that I've just been like you hit the nail on the head. I think I feel a little just I guess secure, which is nice, but not that challenged. And so I think I've been struggling with like, do I try to find something sooner rather than later or wait? And so follow up question to that, can you see like in the trajectory of my career, like when the time to kind of think about the next thing might be?
Mhm.
All right. So while Christine is looking into that, what I was getting when checking out the wellness space was micro meditations. That's what was coming in. So, something that you could do that, just as Christine was outlining, you can very easily modify pre kid, post kid, career, anywhere in your schedule. You develop a practice where you set a timer and it can just be a couple minutes. And I keep seeing that maybe sometimes you do this while like doing your hair in the morning. So you can do it while you are doing another activity. So you're focusing on your breath for that timer. and that's it. And you can, of course, do all different types of breathwork exercises, box or these different number combinations. It would be wise to start doing it and to actually maintain it as a daily practice. Because if it's only a minute, some days, maybe it's 30 seconds, other days it's 3 minutes. It seems to me like it's four or less always. And so you can keep it really, really short and you can do it while you're doing something else. Obviously, not while you're like talking. And that's the point of keeping it really flexible and that it's not I go and I sit in this corner of the room on this pillow and I do a meditation. It's just centering in your breath because you can use that through pregnancy, through
Yep.
when you're having a stressful moment with your kid or you're feeling exhausted, going back to work, or just balancing the different aspects of your life. But it's a handy, very, very small tool that you can flex based on your schedule and what you're doing every day.
Awesome.
All right, so going back to your timeline, so what I'm seeing is over the next 3 to 5 years, you're going to sort of transition. And I feel like once the baby starts sleeping, and I'm getting 5 or 6 months, and again, I don't really know how babies work, so I'm just telling you what I'm getting. But around 5 or 6 months, I feel like the baby's going to start sleeping in a way that allows you to start sleeping. And once that happens, your mind is going to be a little bit more free to start figuring out what you want. I feel like so far you've been trucking along in the sense that, like, I need to keep going, I need to keep climbing, and then you're going to have this baby and it's going to change you in a good way. And then it's going to be a lot more clear for you which jobs to apply for, which jobs to get settled in. And I see around 42, you become very settled in the career that you chose and the job that you've chosen, all because you've taken the time during this process to sort of figure out what you want.
I love that. I did just want to ask if you see anything about my parents and their
Mhm.
like overall health and well-being.
Renee, can I ask her to say their names
Yeah.
or? Okay.
Yeah.
Can you just say their names for me?
Sure. Brian and Susan.
I love your mom's energy.
Yeah, I was getting that too. Like there's something like very bright and expansive about her and I was trying to figure out, well, does she have a health issue or like am I getting energy from her or is it just that she has this sparkle to her because she takes up more space than he
Mhm.
does?
I'm convinced she has a health issue, but she doesn't want to like actually go and see if there is something going on. So
Mhm.
I'll be honest, I feel like she's distracting us right now because when I chime into her energy, she's overpowering your dad, but does that sound like your
yeah,
mom?
sounds
Yeah.
right.
Let me know if I'm anywhere in the ballpark, but I was just trying to tune in to her and say, is there any health,
Yep.
specifically like organs anywhere? What I was getting was her lungs and I was getting asthma. I don't know if she actually has anything related to that or any sort of breathing issues or
Not
like severe allergies.
not breathing. It's probably one of the few things that are okay.
Okay.
My brother does have asthma.
Okay. Yeah, I just keep seeing like her getting out of breath and tired. I'm seeing her losing steam, like she's walking and she's starting to just get really fatigued and need to sit down in a chair.
Hmm.
In some ways, it feels like normal wear and tear, but also that it is uncharacteristic. Um, and again, it doesn't strike me as there's major damage to her lungs or anything, but just that it's almost replicating. I think that's why I was getting asthma. It's almost like replicating what's happening. You're just not getting the air you need, or
I kind of read
like
into
she
that.
could do with like breathing exercises or something, like that she
Well,
needs to slow down.
yes, that I think you hit the nail on the head. Like she runs like overly like stressed out and she worries a lot. So I feel like that's probably just like the universe or her like telling us that she needs to maybe like stop that and slow down a little bit.
What she shows me is she's probably not going to go to the doctor until like she has really run herself ragged. And the universe will do that. They'll like give you like a little nudge, like, hey, here's a little cough, like you should probably go to the doctor. And oh, I have a sore throat, now I should really go to the doctor. And then like all of a sudden I get a fever and I'm bedridden and I'm like, okay, now I'll go to the doctor. And I feel like spirit is showing me this in this way to let you know that it's her responsibility, it's not yours. So don't feel like there's something more that you can do to get her to go. I feel like even your dad's energy is telling me like I can't even get her to go. Like she's very hard-headed and she's not literally not going to go until the universe is like you have to go. And
Yep.
that's how I see it. And I don't see her getting sick and like being incapacitated. I see her getting sick and it being like medium level serious to where she starts to take it seriously and then she kind of goes on from there. I don't think she's going to ignore it anymore at that point, but she's not going to listen to the warning signs. Those are just that's silly. Why would she listen to that?
Yeah.
Yeah, I was seeing that she would need to be in a state of genuinely feeling bad and impacted, not the warning signs, like what Christine was saying, but in that state of not really doing great for a few months before she actually gives in and is realizing it's not just from, well, I had some bad night's sleep. She needs to see a long enough pattern of time where you can take out those variables and it will work with her logic, that it's not just written off by those other elements. And
Yep.
when she sees it happening for a long enough period of time with all of you planting the seeds, it feels like the approach that you can take and your dad too are taking more of the tender supportive role just from the get. You already are feeling some type of way about this,
Mm.
so being very intentional with the words that you're using, not, oh, well, I care about you, I love you, I just want to make sure that you're good. That sounds nice on paper, but it's still like a tactic. It's technically a manipulation to try to get her to go, guilting her into it. That's not going to work because she knows what you're doing and she has to come to terms with it herself and get there. If you're just having more of a passive conversation where you just keep bringing it to her, like you are the mindfulness tool for her, you
Hmm.
just keep saying, oh, are you doing okay? Or I'm noticing blah, blah, blah. And you just keep repeating the symptoms to her. You're creating the space for someone else to point out the pattern over and over and over again without giving her an instruction and telling her what to do.
Yep.
And then eventually she gets to the point where she's now heard you say it, or your dad say it, or your brother say it, that she can actually have the light bulb go off and get to that conclusion herself.
That makes sense.
And just looking at your dad energetically really quick, I feel like his energy too is very hard to pierce. I feel like for hi and then what I'm seeing is, like, a little bit of TLC, like, someone brings him a cup of tea and just sits with him and, like, gives him a little bit of attention, and I feel like that's all he really needs. He's also not showing me much, but when somebody, like, brings him a cup of tea and a blanket, like, he starts to, like, warm up and there's, like, little rosiness in his cheeks.
Oh,
So just I feel like he doesn't ask for it, but he would like a little bit of attention.
yeah.
And
No, I think that's perfect.
awesome.
Makes me feel a little better.
Good. Yay. So Renee and I are gonna pull a mantra for you.
The mantra that I'm getting is, I love myself and others with my entire heart.
The mantra I'm getting is this is just the beginning in like an exciting way. Like you're at the foundation level of building like this whole new next chapter of your life that's gonna last for like the next 30 years.
I love both of those.
Hmm.
Thank you guys.
You're welcome. This was such a nice reading.
It was so nice. It really was so cool. I already want to schedule another one. And I have so many more questions. I started with like none, and now I have just endless
That's
amounts.
usually how it happens. Thanks for listening.
If you'd like to learn more, the resources we used to prepare for this episode are listed in the show notes.
You can reach me, Christine, at Channeled by Christine with one L on Instagram.
And you can reach me, Renee, at _read by Renee, or connect with both of us via email at synergytosynastry@gmail.com.
Keep your spirit curious and your aura sparkling.
We'll see you when the stars next align. I got it.
What
It
is
came back to
that?
me. This is the anchor. You never did this?
No. I didn't know we had
Yeah,
anchors.
you do this. So like you make an anchor.
I thought you were giving me the middle finger.
No, we would laugh about that because we're like, this kind of looks like you're giving someone a middle finger, but you use your pointer finger.
Oh, you do? It
Yeah.
definitely looks like the middle finger.
And then you could do it as like with somebody else. So people would take a picture, but then they'd hold their hands so that together it was making an anchor.
Bring this up at my college reunion. My friends are going to be like, put your gang signs down.
Well, that was the joke. Is like, every sorority had like a different like hand gesture thing. It looks better with two people's hands. No, how they told us was like, oh, make two L's and then flip them, and that's how you do it. And you just like
No.
grab your other hand.
Wow, cannot wait to bring this around campus.